G'day everyone, welcome to another Hydrex EU guide. Today I'm focusing on how to play Protection Paladin in the War Within Season 1 Mythic Plus. In this video we'll cover everything you need to know to tank effectively as a Prot Paladin, from talents to gear to rotations and macros. Let's dive in. Starting with the talents, you are looking for talents that are going to obviously enhance your survivability, your utility, and for Mythic Plus, your AoE damage. Some of the really important nodes will be like Holy Shield, which allows you to block spells, which is one of the biggest strengths of Paladin. You've got Bulwark of Righteous Fury, which just increases your Shield of Righteous damage by a lot. Final Stand is another really good talent for Mythic Plus. Just being able to Divine Shield and AoE Taunt is super strong. Some of the more optional nodes here will be you could take Inspiring Vanguard to increase your damage a lot more. And over here you've got talents like Righteous Protection, which is where when you use Blessing of Sacrifice you can now remove and prevent poison and disease effects. This is really good in a key like Arakara to help out with dispels on the last boss. A couple other really important talents for Protection Paladin will be Faith in the Light. So whenever you cast Word of Glory, you get 30% block chance for 6 seconds. And Barricade of Faith, when you use Avenger's Shield, your block chance is increased by another 10%. All of these stack up, and you end up with these and Holy Shield. You'll be able to get up to 100% block chance with enough mastery. We can go into that a little bit more later. Last thing for the talents is there's a lot of use cases for having different builds for different dungeons this season. Like you don't need Eye of Tyr for all the dungeons, but ones that have bosses with big tank busters, like Stone Vault, Grim, Dawn, and City. Having that extra defensive is really good to mitigate some of the tank busters. Whereas other dungeons, it doesn't matter so much, you won't take Eye of Tyr. Some of the dungeons you don't need dispels, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of flexibility, and it's very interesting what you can do with the talents this season. The choice of racial with the Protection Paladin, Dwarf is number one by far. Just as a tank, being able to clear poison, disease, curse, magic, bleed effects on yourself and reduce physical damage taken by 10%. No other racial competes with this for a tank spec, and it gives you some flexibility, because once again, like a boss such as last boss Arakara, you can stone form a poison off yourself, you can dispel someone with your cleanse, and then you can Blessing of Sacrifice another person, so you can absolutely carry the dispels for the group. For the stats on Protection Paladin, you want to stack as much haste as you can. I'm sitting on 30% at the moment, and what's it going to do is it's going to help reduce the cooldown of your abilities a lot quicker. In particular, things like Divine Shield, since you're talented into reducing the cooldown on Divine Shield for all the holy power you spend. That's really strong on boss fights like First Boss City, where you Divine Shield a frontal, and then as you're spending more holy power through the fight, you'll get another Divine Shield later on within like a minute and a half or something. So you can Divine Shield quite often with a lot of haste. The other thing is mastery. With enough mastery, you can get your block chance up to 100%. So haste and mastery are your two most important stats. Versatility has never really been that good for Protection Paladin unless they have to kite a lot. mastery is always stronger, and crit is really good. It's probably the third best stat, unless you're doing a dungeon where you don't need 100% spell block chance, I guess, like maybe miss or something. But crit is still really strong for the parry chances, and just the critical strikes, proccing one of the hero talents, Hammer and Anvil, just does tons more damage. So that's really cool about that. But just going back on mastery and how much mastery you want, since I'm spec'd into Faith and Light and Barricade of Faith that give the extra block chance, you can see down here currently sitting at 60% block. Send out my shield, I'm up to 70%. Word of Glory myself, I'm sitting at 100%. That's exactly how much mastery you want, ideally as minimum. And then I've got this Weakauras I've created here. Just tracks those two buffs, the Barricade of Faith and Faith in the Light. So when I'm going to take a big tank buster, I know I need to get those two buffs up. Like Subjugate on First Boss City, I've been able to take it pretty much with no defensives up. If I'm topped up on a 12 with those two buffs up, 100% spell block, I will survive the hit, no worries. Regarding trinkets for Protection Paladin, the two bis trinkets are your Sack Brood and Swarmlord's Authority. They both give you tons of haste, which is, as I was saying earlier, helps you reduce cooldown on your abilities such as Divine Shield. So that's very strong defensively on its own, and then the damage reduction from Swarmlord's Authority ends up being about, I don't know, 10 to 15% overall healing in keys usually. It's quite a lot, so it's really worthwhile getting. But if you want to do a bit more damage, you can go for like Mark of Kardros for the mastery on use, which does heaps of damage for you, and also this Heart of Rockor from the raid that came out in the anniversary event. That's tons of damage as well, so they're good DPS choices if you want to swap out Swarmlord's Authority for something that does a bit more damage. For your enchants, the ones you won't really change will be Cloak, Braces, Chest. You're always going to have the Leech enchants, Crystalline Radiance on chest. Weapon's going to have Authority of Radiant Power, and your pants are going to have, oh, what's the name of that one again? I can't remember, but it's 930 strength and 895 stamina. Boots, Defender's March for more stamina. Remember, Prot Paladin has the lowest HP pool of any of the tanks too this season, so having that extra stamina helps. And then rings are a bit more flexible. It kind of depends on your stats, but if you've got enough mastery just passively off gear, then you can just go haste on both the rings, and that'll be really good. For your embellishments, you're going to put one on your weapon, the Dark Moon card Sigil Ascension, and I just put the other on my shield, which is the Writhing Armor Banding, to double the effects. And when you're running keys, you want to make sure you've got the right consumables. And what I usually run is Beladar's Bounty, which is going to increase your highest secondary stat, so most likely haste. Then Tempered Swiftness for more haste. And then I'm pre-potting Tempered Potion for, you guessed it, more haste. Then just the Elgari health healing potions, just to top you off from time to time. if you're in some immediate danger and don't have the holy power or the mana to Word of Glory yourself. Now let's talk about the rotation a little bit. So number one is you need to keep consecration down at all times. Always be standing in it. Helps to have a weak aura that can track if you're standing in it. Like this one goes red when I'm not in it, and it tells me how much time is left on it. And yeah, a bad habit I have is I will press consecrate on cooldown. I think it's from older expansions. Consecrate didn't last so long, so I used to have to press it a lot more. But anyway, and then you're using Judgment and Blessed Hammer to generate holy power. These are the two main spells that generate holy power, and you're spending your holy power on Shield of Righteous. That Shield of Righteous is another ability you want to keep up at all times. It's good to track it if you can, because that's going to reduce damage taken significantly while that's up. And it's really easy to keep it up this expansion, which is nice. I don't think I ever have any gaps in Shield of Righteous once it gets going. And when you get Respecting the Divine Purpose now too, we get free Shield of Righteous procs. It's really good. Alright, and then as I was saying earlier, when you know there's a tank buster coming up, it's good to make sure you've recently hit Avenger's Shield and just Word of Glory yourself just to get your spell block up to, or get your block chance up to 100%. That way you reduce the damage taken as much as possible. And then your actual opener going into a trash pack, you can just press Blessed Hammer without being in the pack and build up holy power. Make sure you've got at least 3 holy power. So you go in, you pop wings, throw your shield, and then Shield of Righteous, and just keep Judgment on cooldown. Hit Divine Toll too to get threat on all the mobs. Alright. And during wings, every time you hit Judgment, you're getting 2 holy power instead of 1, so it's a lot easier with wings up to generate holy power. Alright, so that's the basics of the rotation. And then going a little bit more advanced, Protection Paladin's playing Lightsmith at the moment, where you get these holy armaments. So you've got Holy Bulwark, which is giving you and someone in your party a shield, which is a huge shield. And you've got Sacred Weapon, which is dealing additional holy damage, and that'll automatically go on someone else in the party as well. So using those, the button alternates all the time. If Holy Shield is next, I usually try and target Holy Shield on someone, like if you've got a Disc Priest in the group, they're usually a bit squishier, so try and put the shield on them. Otherwise you can just slam it without targeting anyone, and it's still going to reduce damage taken for someone in the group and be really helpful. And then you've got Sacred Weapon. People say usually better to put Sacred Weapon on a melee DPS. I don't think it matters a whole lot. I usually just slam it out, and that's fine without stressing too much about it. But if you track them, it's really good to do, because sometimes you just get free procs of the abilities, so you don't want to hit these and overlap an existing one if you want to completely maximize it. Because like right now, if I hit wings, I've got Sacred Weapon up for 20 seconds, so I don't want to use another Sacred Weapon charge. But when it gets to about less than 5 seconds remaining, then that's fine. You can extend. I've just had a proc, which has extended it, so I would have been doing really big damage in a pool right now with those kind of procs. Okay, next just going over some of the defensives. The first one you want to use is usually Ardent Defender. This has the shortest cooldown. So if you need to reduce damage taken from a tank buster, or you're going in at the start of a pool, it's usually good to have Ardent Defender up. And then you've got your Guardian of Ancient Kings, reduces all damage taken by 50%. That's a very, very strong one. 50% damage taken is huge for a tank. Or any tank busters, or just smoothing out damage in big pools. And you're also reducing the cooldown of it as you spend Holy Power. So you don't have to hold on to that too much, just send it. Never overlap the defensives though, that's always a waste. You've got Divine Shield. I'd probably prioritize Ardent Defender than Divine Shield. The cooldown's a bit shorter than Guardian of Kings. You'll definitely get more uses of Divine Shield in keys. Sometimes you just need to do it to get threat, but usually you're using it to cheese mechanics or just absorb tank busters, that kind of thing. Next one is Lay on Hands. If you're spec'd into Imperial Ward, whenever you lay on hands yourself, you get 30% increased armor. So it becomes a defensive cooldown now when you lay on hands yourself. And another defensive on a short cooldown is Eye of Tyr. As I was saying earlier, you don't need to have this ability in every dungeon, but it can be a bit niche where you've got frequent tank busters like first boss in City of Threads. It's really good to have. It's 25% damage reduction, so it's very strong on a 1 minute cooldown. And then even more niche is your Blessing of Spell Warding. If you're getting hit by a big magical tank buster like Obsidian Beam in Dawnbreaker, you can spell ward yourself and take no damage from that. It's the same as Bubble, but it's only for magical damage. You can also use this for utility on the group too. If there's big AoE damage going out, then you can hit spell warding on someone and they won't take any damage. So that's very useful. And the last one I'll talk about, which I'm not spec'd into right now, but is your Blessing of Protection. It can be used to save some people, like in Miss, when you're fighting the two dogs before first boss. You can bop someone and they won't take any damage from the thrash, so that can be really handy. As far as tanking goes, if you've got a macro to clear it straight away, like a cancel or a macro, which we can go into shortly, you can use it to remove a bleed on yourself, or it's good on first boss Stone Vault, just to clear the debuff that the boss puts on you when they do their tank buster on you. But other than that, not a whole lot of use for it this season, but it does have its uses. Alright, next thing I want to talk about here is some of the mouse overs and macros I'm using. So quickly on mouse overs, I've got some click casts just for shift left click on a target. I'll Word of Glory them. Shift middle button, flash a light. Rarely use that, but it's handy. I don't want to put it on my bars. And then shift right click for battle res. That's super important to be able to B-res someone quickly during a fight. And then the actual macros I've got. Okay, so I do like a mouse over macro for Avengers Shield. So say you're fighting some trash here and there's a caster out here that you want to pull in. Just mouse over it and throw my shield and that'll pull it in. It'll be silenced and I can pull it in. So mouse over Avengers Shield, very handy. Mouse over Blessing of Freedom. Pretty straightforward. So Shift Q is my keybind for Blessing of Freedom. Like if you're spec'd into like Unbound Freedom, where you can freedom someone else and it freedoms you as well. That's good in like City of Threads, last boss. When Umbral Weave is about to go out, you can freedom, say, the healer and yourself. With this, just a quick mouse over makes it a lot easier. Mouse over Blessing of Protection. So can quickly cast that on a player, and if I cast it on myself, I've also got the cancel aura built into it, so I just spam it twice to clear a bleed or something like that. We got spell warding. Any of these utility spells, I just create mouse overs always, so I can hover over people's party frame and cast them. Divine Shield, I haven't been using that this this season because we always take Final Stand where Divine Shield taunts, but traditionally this is a good macro to have when the builds didn't allow for you to use Final Stand. Got mouse over Dispel, Cleanse Toxins. So mouse over Hammer of Justice. You can hover over an enemy and hodge them. Lay on Hands, Utility, Hammer of Wrath. Not really necessary. Judgment's still good, just to pull more trash in. Just makes things a bit quicker. My focus target for Rebuke, so I can focus one mob, target another, and get kicks as required. That's a pretty common one everyone uses. And that is it for macros. Last thing I'll talk about today is my UI. I get a lot of questions about the UI that I have. I'm running ElvUI. I'll drop a link to the profile in the description of the video. It's fully customized. I try to keep things as clear as possible around the middle of my screen so I can always see what I'm standing in. That's obviously very important in Mythic Plus, and you want to make sure that you're able to, see the mobs are in front of you, nothing's behind you, hitting you in the back. Prot Paladin is very weak from behind. If they get hit in the back, they're just dead, or pretty much always dead. So, as well as ElvUI, I'm using Weakauras. These ones in the middle are kind of customized Weakauras of stuff I've found around on the internet or just made myself. So I can post that in the description below as well. But this main Paladin one, I'm just trying to track my most important spells. So I like these ones for Divine Shield and Spell Warding, just so I know whether or not I'm in danger or not for tank busters. It's really good to track that stuff. Or if you're doing like a really large pool and you Divine Shield, you're completely safe with Divine Shield up, but the moment that drops, you need to make sure you've got something else running, like maybe Guardian of Ancient Kings or something, if there's still a lot of damage coming out. You just need to keep rolling defensives and stay alive. These two are ones I created myself. Just helps me with tracking my block chance. I know if I've pressed Word of Glory, how long the buff has got left up, and if I've just cast Avengers Shield, I've got Barricade of Faith up. So they're really useful when trying to mitigate damage from tank busters. Shield of Righteous is a really basic one that everyone should track, because that is your your most basic active mitigation you need up. Same with Consecrate. These two have always been the most important mitigations for Protection Paladin. And then my Shining Light stacks. So every 3 times you shoot a Righteous, you get a free Word of Glory. It's good to track those. The free ones don't use mana. So if you can only Word of Glory yourself when you've got free procs, that's a lot better. If you're off healing your party a lot and consuming your stacks and spending mana, you'll actually go very quickly. So good to track that as well. And then I found this other one on Wego, which just shows me my current block and parry. So yeah, if I want to get 100% block chance up for a tank buster, I can look at that as well. Make sure I am sitting at 100%. And then I've got the Holy Power Orbs, which is just a nice looking little tracker for my Holy Power. You never want to be sitting on 5 Holy Power, always just spend it. Even if you're overlapping your Shield of Righteous uptime, just send it. You have more Holy Power than you need at the moment, so it's really good. The other one, oh yeah, and then I've got this Holy Armament Helper, which just helps me with tracking the Sacred Weapon and Holy Bulwark. Is that the right name? What was it called? Yeah, Holy Bulwark and Sacred Weapon just helps me track those, so I'm not overlapping those buffs too much. Another good Weakauras. They're the basic ones. And another good one I'll say though for Mythic Plus that a lot of people ask me about is this raid ability timeline. So this kind of takes over your default boss cooldowns add-on, such as Bigwigs or DBM, and it gives you this nice little timeline bar for when stuff's coming up. So a lot of people comment on how much they like this, and that's just another one I found on Wego. So I can link that one down below. For tanking too, you've got auto marker add-on, just to put markers on important mobs that need to be kicked. So that's handy when people want to call kicks. And that's probably the main ones for keys. Oh, this is another one I'll just bring up. So whenever there's a poison debuff on someone in your party, the frames will glow and just make a little noise, so you know you can dispel them. So that's really good just for utility. You don't have to think about dispels. This just alerts you and you go and dispel. And I made this Swarmlord's Weakauras as well. Just tells me how much of an absorb shield I get from that trinket out of the raid. So that's handy, just so you know what kind of safety net you've got on top of your HP bar. What else? I'm using Omni CD to track party cooldowns. So you want to track DPS cooldowns. That's very important, I think, just so you know how big you can pull. If no one's got cooldowns, then you probably only want to pull a smaller pack, wait till cooldowns come up. So these will just show icons on your party frames, which is really handy. And I'm kind of doing this a bit of a weird way, but I also use method raid tools for tracking some of the bigger cooldowns. I think we need to turn on in world. So healing cooldowns, utility stuff will appear under my party frames, which will be here. And I'll track like Zephyr, Spirit Link, Rallying Cry, this sort of stuff. So if you want to call something, they're all here. And then obviously basics like kicks will be tracking here, and maybe AoE CCs will track all that kind of stuff. Just because I'm usually the shot caller in the groups as the tank, I'm using method raid tools to call out all that sort of stuff. That's it for my Protection Paladin Mythic Plus guide, guys. Hope you found the information helpful. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments how your Protection Paladin adventures are going. And until next time, I'll catch you later.